Spud. Hello, Spud. Are you there?
In good form, Tommy.
I'm not. I'm shitty phone.
What happened there?
Just life. It's like you wake up and you go, what fresh horror awaits me today. That's a real negative outlook at life, isn't it? That's very positive.
Jesus, Tommy. Don't be doing that. Go watch yourself some fucking Genpo Roshi, whatever his name is, and then, okay.
Yeah, we see. You see, the negative Tommy will go, oh yeah, but Genpo Roshi, he's full of scandals and he's not a nice person in real life, so all that, like even
but it's
him,
only look, okay, like it's not like he's a pedo or anything. He just slept with other women. It's not that bad.
Oh, but he's a Zen master,
Crowley.
man.
Yeah, but so what? I don't.
Well, I take it. I don't give a shit.
You did explain that to me before. The Zen masters are supposed to be like Catholic priests or something. Yeah,
some of them. Yeah,
you have to be more moral, or they don't have to be celibate though, obviously, because they're married.
Some of them. It depends on what your not oaths. What's that other thing? Whatever you've promised to do.
Oats, like the stuff you give ducks in the river. What the porridge?
Yeah. No, with OATH. You know the way I can't pronounce H's?
Oh, okay. A promise.
A promise, yeah, but it's something else. Your
oath. Swear allegiance to the Queen or something.
Yeah, it's whatever. The pledge or whatever. There's a word that my brain doesn't like anymore, obviously. That monks take, and nuns take, and priests take, and it's a vow. Well done, Tommy's brain. Well done. It depends on the vows you've taken. Yeah.
And so because he cheated on the wife a couple of times, but like he wasn't derobed or anything like that, was he? Is derobing a thing?
I'm not sure, but people have been derobed because of that. Like a man who wrote The Mind Illuminated, or The Illuminated Mind, Calduas, I can never pronounce his name. He had an interesting kind of a thing to do with that, and he kind of lost an awful lot of things out of it. But that's a weird one, because like if you go by his story, his wife knew what was going on and knew that he was gone off with this other one, and they were only still married because there was like financial stuff involved, and she thought he was about to die, and as soon as she found out that he wasn't about to die, that he was getting better, then it all kicked off. And then so I mean there's an awful lot more to all of these stories than just Genpo Roshi had sex with a couple of women.
Well, I mean, it's a bit weird that like the Zens and the Buddhists would hold their priests or teachers or Brahmins or whatever the fucking title is, I don't know, to this high moral standard, when like the whole guy that came up with this, like he literally left his wife and child. Like, do you know what I mean? Like
he went back though. He went back to them. He went off into the woods to find himself.
He didn't really. He went back to visit, and then the young fella joined him. Didn't the young fella become like the first enlightened person in line or something? Whatever. Okay, cool, that's fine. But like, surely then like you should have the same moral stuff with your priests and stuff like that. It's like, okay, being monogamous is what.
Well, you see, the Buddhist thing.
The
Buddhist thing is it's not a commandment in the way it is in the Catholic or the Christian thing. It's not do not have sex with women, or that aren't your wife. In the kind of it is different for lay people and thing. But say the general kind of view of it is that if you do this, you're going to cause yourself more suffering. It's not don't do it because it's bad. God will punish you. It's just these type of actions lead to why your life feels shit. Don't steal because stealing is morally wrong as from a God point of view. It's because that leads to lying, it leads to hiding, it leads to it's an ineffectual action. It's not a right action.
Because it's cause and effect. It's karma thing. Yeah,
it's like these things are going to cause you suffering, so that's why you shouldn't do them. Yeah, but at the but for the priesthood, and the monks, they are to be held to a higher standard because that's what they've decided to do.
Okay.
And so if you then don't do that, then I
understand. But like, is it surely there's a thing for like, okay, well, like, that's his fault. It's not, because he cheated on the missus a few times. Like that's on him. Why?
Yeah, but it is on him.
It's the whole thing. Like, Iga was telling me she was looking into like meta meditation and why it puts so much emphasis on the other people.
Yeah.
Before it comes to you, Is
this metacognitive meditation or just meta?
No. Meta, love and kindness.
Oh, meta. Love and kindness. Yeah, my brain's not working.
And so, and the thing is that like even the one that's hardest for people is to pick someone you don't like or pick an enemy. Well, they don't say it as an enemy. Pick someone who's fucked you over basically.
Problematic.
Problematic. And try and send them, let you be well, let you be yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the reason for that one in particular is because, the reason that person's an arsehole is because they have their baggage and stuff. And so it's the same. Like, I kind of see it with the Genpo Roshi thing as well. It's like, well, okay, he has this cheaty thing because it's something inside him, and we all have to hate him.
No, well, here's the thing. It's because why it is worse with people like that is because they're presenting themselves as higher level human beings than us, and that they are awakened, or they have, they're more enlightened, or they have more insight, or they develop themselves, or a higher order being. That's how they're presenting themselves. So then they have to be treated or, judged on a higher level. That's the
really.
That's the idea, yeah. That is the thing, So, if you say I'm an awakened being, and then don't act like an awakened being, you should be judged more than someone who doesn't say they're an awakened being, because you've been judged as being an awakened being.
Then I think my definition of what an awakened being is quite different than other people's awakened definition.
Yeah, probably. And I'm not saying I agree with him. I'm saying that's the threshold by which it is judged. It's. I'm not saying. I don't know, whatever you want. But I can see the other side. You should be going well, not every priest abused kids, so we shouldn't really, point the finger at the Catholic Church. There is some.
And plus, if look, I can only look at. I'm only looking at it from his side, okay, and maybe I should look at it from his wife's side as well. But if two people fall out of love and they go off and do other things, so what?
yeah. Fine. But what if you've been? And I'm not saying Genpo Roshi was, but if you've been preaching for 20 years not to do that, do you think it's not a double standard?
If what? Sorry.
Say your part of your teaching was to be faithful, don't do these things, don't have affairs, don't do that, and then you're caught having an affair. Do you not think there's some element of that's a double standard and it should be held accountable?
I don't. No, look. Okay. Well, here's the thing. I haven't. From my limited research on him, which isn't that much, other than
again, I'm saying that in principle. I don't know enough about it. I don't know what he ever said about marriage. He might have been.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't know what he preaches. I don't know. If he's preached to people, don't be cheating, don't do this, don't do that. Then it's totally hypocritical. Then, yeah, obviously.
But there is the other thing of that, and I know Brad Warner got into trouble with this as well. Is this whole idea of that you shouldn't have relationships with your students or the people who are around you because of that power dynamic. It's the whole, Me Too, Louis C.K. thing is that it's, in a sense, not that it's fine as behaviour, but it's because of who he is and the kind of hierarchy.
The forbidden fruit
I understand,
of your religion teacher. How many of us have fallen in love with our religion teachers? Because, we hate religion, but, oh my God, Miss Kelvy, I love you.
Yeah, all my religion teachers were men, so... I missed it, that.
I don't know. It's just something.
On the whole thing, I think people should do whatever they want, make them happy, and try to eliminate as little amount of suffering on other people around you. But I think if you're going to hold yourself to a higher order, then I think it's okay to be criticised when you then get caught not doing that. I think that's kind of my. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. It's just I think. I think my problem is the kind of judginess of just dismissing someone because his cock took over for a while. And
but it's the what's the John Lennon thing we've talked about a million times. What's more important? His Genpo Roshi's additions to, but people I was going to say additions to metaphysics or whatever, spirituality, whatever is that thing, or what he does in his private life, and should it be separate or can it be, all that stuff. But people also have reservations about Big Mind in the sense of that it's the unearned wisdom thing, that it puts too much pressure, that it can plenty of things to have a kind of a go at him. I like it. I like Big Mind. If I didn't hear anything about Genpo Roshi's private life, I don't think it would have it didn't change Big Mind for me in any way. I think as well around that time when the whole integral circle, the whole Ken Wilber kind of thing, there was a lot of kind of stuff going on. There was other kind of scandals, so they all got kind of bunched in maybe together, that and it's like, here's another one here, and it kind of all added up. But there was a few things going on as well at the same time, because he was Ken Wilber had done some stuff with Andrew Cohn, I think, and then there was another guy, oh, he had some sort of sex scandal as well. There was a couple of things going on. But yeah, but like, I don't know. There's a kind of a sense though that is there no one that you can then. Like, should we not put anyone on a pedestal in any kind of a way?
Yeah. I'd agree with that, Tommy.
Yeah. But then then you have things like sport, and then you have things like people who are particularly good at say music or whatever. And I think that the kind of is to pedestalize the action or the song rather than the person. Make. And I think that's hard because we like people, and we like the people who make things, and like the behind the scenes videos will be a testament to how much we actually like the people behind all these things as much as but I think that's where the problem is. It's in what Crowley says versus what Crowley does, and it's also what Crowley says, in fairness. But it's in that, and it's just go like let's cancel the entire thing because he's human, and that's also not to condone any of these actions, but like it's like I've never met a perfected person. I met a few who said they were, and they definitely weren't, and I think if you're going around without, and I suppose we're just kind of going around circling, if you're saying you're some sort of perfected or teacher or putting yourself in that kind of hierarchy, then you have to be treated differently because of that, I think.
Well, like you wouldn't see enlightened people like that, though, would you? Like, what's your kind of definition of someone? Well, someone who's morally fucking straight as an arrow and doesn't make.
Well, anyone who I've interacted with or said are awake and just don't seem any different to me than any other person I've ever met. Other than like their lives don't seem to be better. They don't seem to have any great insight into how to. They may or may not have insight into the greater unfolding of how creation works, but they certainly don't know any more about how this planet works or humans work or any of that kind of stuff.
No.
So I don't know, but like, I mean, that could be just a 2-year-old trying to understand algebra. Goes, that's just all squiggles. They're all squiggles. That's until you actually understand it that you might. So I mean, I'm
even then it's still all squiggles.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm healthily skeptical about awakening and enlightenment or any claims by anyone.
I think it's more that I think enlightened people are let me see, they can I can't really get the words out. They're less anxious about the future because they don't have to be thinking about it all that much. They can see themselves. This doesn't make any sense at all now. They're just more present in their lives and don't get caught up in the monkey brain that the Uber boy was talking about last week. Yeah. I think that's the way it is. And when they make mistakes, I think they're able to forgive and forget themselves and other people far quicker. That's the way I see enlightenment. I don't see it as. But yeah,
have you seen that in actual the world? Like, have you, or is that just in principle?
I don't know anyone tonight. Oh no! Look, the only person
you know a number of people who say they're awake and they're enlightened. Like,
I don't. I know. I don't. Look, I've interviewed Duncan Barford. That's all. I've had a couple of email exchanges with him. He's the only person I know. Are we friends? I hope so, because I really like him. But like, do you know? No, I don't. I don't know anyone else. So I don't. So I can't. I have no idea. Do I know other people? You're gonna have to tell me when we start recording.
Number of people. Yeah, maybe you don't know that.
I don't have. Okay, I didn't know they're fully awake, enlightened.
Well, you see, fully awakened. It's awakening.
Doesn't fucking seem like anyone on your Discord is, Tommy. I gotta be honest here, man.
All I can say is I'm certainly not. Anyway. Yeah, it's an interesting one.
But you're not. But you are. You are. We all are. We just don't realise it. Watch that fucking Big Mind again, because I watched the second one. There's two.
Yeah, the second one's not as good.
The second one is in 2 parts, and I watched it over 2 nights. And they watched the second part, and I was like, oh yeah, I got this again. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
Mind blown. Awake till 3 or 4 in the morning, just going, wow. And then the next morning, just like, waking up going, oh yeah, that was fun.
Drugs. You just get addicted to it like drugs.
Yeah, I think it's the practice of But it's the same as I've said it a couple of times before. Same as what the Sadhguru dude said before. You just put on the hat that you need for the situation. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I kind of think that is what it is. And that's what I want to talk to you about before we start recording. There was a post on the Magia Discord about Buddhism, and I don't know, some fella wrote a book.
Yeah.
What's it called? I have it here. The Dark Side of the Moon. Never heard of it. Don't know.
Yeah.
Something to do with Pink Floyd, maybe. Obviously not. And he puts this argument forward, and probably a bit like, former sponsor of the show, Peter Kingsley, who we've fallen out with.
I've fallen out with him. I just sick of hearing about him.
No, but it's too. It's that everyone's wrong, but I'm right.
Yeah.
So this book looks like this as well, because there's this argument that, well, Buddhism and the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path, well, it looks like, from this guy's opinion, that the teachers of that way got it completely wrong, and that it was like, well, when you're enlightened, these are the things that you will do, rather than it being, this is the path you should follow to become enlightened. All right?
Yeah.
So, but Tommy, this is what I wanted to ask you about. Isn't every single enlightenment path made after the fact? Like Thelema, Crowley sat down and he wrote it. Okay, no, it's a bad example because Crowley wasn't enlightened. But you know what I mean? He sat down and he came up with this formula, method, path to enlightenment. Buddha, he came up with it after he was enlightened. Okay? Yeah. Who else is there? Gurdjieff, after he was enlightened, he came up with this. Chapman, Magia's thing. Chapman didn't become enlightened through Magia.
Doing it, no, yeah,
that's
exactly.
Yeah. That's all in the Baptist head books. If you want to follow him and Barford, you follow the Baptist head books. Look, Magia is brilliant, but like
it didn't get Alan to where it is.
No, it's also a system. It's also a system that's come after the fact. Yeah.
Yeah.
So therefore, there can't be any system that tells you how to. Sorry, not that there can't be any system that tells you how to do it, but every system that's ever made is always going to be retrospective. By definition, it has to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't understand then this argument of this book.
Because he's saying that if Buddha only knew it after enlightenment, then that's something that you'll only probably understand till after enlightenment. And then if you're trying to understand it before enlightenment, that you're not going to get it until you're enlightened. Maybe. I haven't read the bit you talked about. Like, if you were saying that these things people only discover them after their enlightenment, then Dogen is saying these are the only things that are relevant after you're enlightened.
Yeah.
But to counter that is, Alan Chapman would say that a teaching should be worthwhile or should be useful or should be true before, during and after an awakening. So that's the kind of counter to that. So that...
Yeah.
But you have to remember too, Dogen is very interesting. He's a monk, he's like the very dogmatic thing, and it's Zen. He's his big book, Shobo Genzo. It's Zen isn't quite Buddhism. It's I don't know, a kind of a more stripped down in some sense kind of version of Buddhism, and it's kind of not. I'm not saying it is, but it's kind of similar to the way that how Protestantism is different from Catholicism, in that they're a different focus. It's a different kind of so that they don't have. I suppose they're not as. I don't know, not as enamored by the kind of, I suppose, the doctrine of Buddhism, and to think that there's a chance to have a thing called Satori, which is kind of a sudden enlightenment, which is the enlightenment you get from someone throwing a shoe at you for asking a stupid question, where you suddenly, that thing, all and the cones all come from Zen.
That's what big mind totally is. Big mind is brings you up the step, and then boom, hits you. Aha,
throws a shoe at you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
But I don't really know. I haven't read the bit that you're talking about, so I don't know. But I assume if he's saying that these things, is he saying that they're not relevant or they're not, you shouldn't do them until after you're enlightened? I don't know. Like, it depends on who you ask. I have no idea. I'm not enlightened, so I don't know what's the.
I don't know. It's just a kind of like, it's one of those things where it's like, you see something like that and you're like, lads, you're going to love me. because you're all wrong and I know the truth. I know the truth. And you're just like, yeah, really? Okay. Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, like
I haven't read the book yet. No, I just wanted to ask
you won't
if
like
knew about
Duggan
this.
because he's very, I know the truth, and everyone else is wrong. Very much so.
But sure, no one knows the fucking truth. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't a clue. No, I was watching your man Genpo being interviewed. There's that many interviews with him on YouTube, but he was being interviewed and they were talking about reincarnation. And what's this vow in Buddhism where you, because you're enlightened and awakened, you make a vow that you'll come back and help other beings.
Bodhisattva. I can never pronounce that word. Yeah. Is this Genpo Roshi or Ken Wilber that you were looking at?
Genpo.
Right. Okay.
Oh, there's loads of Ken Wilber stuff. Jesus, YouTube is full of Ken Wilber.
Yeah.
But it's not full of Genpo Roshi. It's hard not to say Genpo, isn't it? It's really hard not to say Genpo. And so they're talking about reincarnation, but then also he says, like, at the end, like his last sentence is something like, I don't know.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, no one knows.
Yeah.
So,
I've like less and less. I was never really convinced of reincarnation, other than any kind of a, I suppose, entertainment idea. But I'm kind of less and less convinced by it. Absolutely now, because it's just kind of that question of who reincarnates, and it's certainly not Spud, and certainly not Tommy that's going to reincarnate. Because if it was true, then, you know, all our other lives can't be me, unless there's some sort of paradoxical kind of Zen where, oh, everyone is you, all that stuff. So if it's not you that's reincarnating, and it's at best some form of the God force or God or whatever, then it seems highly impractical that the same part would separate itself constantly over different lives, rather than, you know, pooling all its resources together and all its, you know, why would one person have to go through if God is God, why would it go through the same experiences a million times when it could do it a couple of times and integrate that into the bigger thing? And that's kind of where I'm at, and that it just seems highly illogical that it would be a thing.
There's a video I put on the Celtic thing yesterday. What's his name? Survive the Jive. I can't place this fella, and I can't figure out if I like him or not yet, but I think I like him. And he was talking about this Proto-Indo-European and Celtic idea of reincarnation, and that and the Vedics would have had this back then as well, or would have come from the earlier Proto-Europeans as well. And it wasn't that, how to explain it? So everything is all one, and we're all God experiencing life, but it seems that certain aspects of that God, of that one God, will attach itself to like a certain, say, clan or surname or even a race.
Okay, yeah. Like a pendulum.
Like a pendulum, yeah. So like whoever we were before, they've always maybe been a Murphy or a Kelly, or they've always been Irish, for example.
That's the kind of group soul idea, isn't it?
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting, but
it's kind of it's close to animism, I suppose, in the sense that, you know, all dogs have a soul, an overarching higher soul or whatever. That the thing are all cats, all trees, all rivers, or certain areas and stuff like that. Yeah, no, I can get that. Like, or even, I suppose, even if you want to go to Jung type sense, in the wrong use of the word of archetype, the archetype of dog is a thing that's, you know, is kind of an overarching type thing. Yeah, no, I get that. It's just, but it's like all of this is just speculation, you know, and it's like,
oh, of course,
it's fun, but it's like, I'm reading a book at the minute, and it was recommended firstly by Russell Brand, and then by my brain's not working, someone on Discord. It's Letting Go, it's called, and it's really good. But it's like, it's all of this kind of proper science stuff blended in with woo, but it's all presented as fact. And it's just, I find that very great, and it's where it's like, you know, just tell me, I'm good with the woo and I'm good with the science, but let me know which is which, you know. So like, so it's like where you're like going, and we, you know, we take on the memories of our parents or whatever is the thing, and go, yeah, there is some evidence for that. There's just a kind of a thing for that, but not in the way you're saying it, and you're kind of extrapolating a thing from it and presenting it as the overall as fact, and it's just like, and that's my thing I'm finding very annoying, but in, I suppose, spirituality or magic or New Age thought, whatever it is, it's this kind of insistence on, I get to say whatever I want because it's my truth, my experience, and if you don't understand it or you don't agree with me, it's because you're not awakened enough, clear enough, the Scientology. You have none enough clear in the you watch that The Vow about that called Nexium. They had the same thing where if you disagreed with anything that was said, you had to go and do it. There was a process they had to do to try and it's just, but it's all of that same sort of thing. If you don't agree with me, it's you, and it's like, no, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's you.
I think most of the times it's the opposite, because it's like, see, if you try and help someone with a dream interpretation, most people kind of seem to have this idea that the dream's trying to tell them something about the future, and that's not it. Like, we know that's not it. It's your subconscious or your unconscious is trying to tell you something, and it has nothing to do with the future, like just nothing, But it doesn't matter how many times you try and tell people that, they're convinced that they've found some true meaning. Yeah,
but I suppose that's kind of based on the thing that sometimes people have dreams and then they do happen. It hasn't happened to me, I have to say, or it's like similar things may have happened, but also similar things have happened in the past. So, which one am I looking at?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had one. I think, did I ever tell you about this? I had one when I was I was still an altar boy. So what age would I have been? 11, 10, 11, 12 kind of age. And I had a dream about my uncle's funeral, and I got a mad deja vu during my uncle's funeral. And I went, shit, I've dreamed this. I've dreamt this. I've been here before. I've dreamt this. But the thing is that, like, obviously I dreamt it because even though at the time, like, they had never really told me he was dying. He was sick, like, and but unconsciously, subconsciously, whatever, I had picked up on it that he was, up the creek. That sounds disrespectful. I don't mean that. He was dying,
Yeah.
And obviously I picked up on it, and my brain was telling me this. And until I had the deja vu was fucking mad. Like, I was standing in the, when you go into the church, there's the place where the holy water is. Mm-hmm. And usually what happens in the funerals in this church is they wheel the coffin outside, and then they lift it up and on their shoulders, and they walk down the steps. Yeah. But because it was raining so heavy that day, they have to lift it inside, and it was really squished. And I was holding the cross, and the two other altar boys were behind me with the candles, the big candles. And I went, as me dad was lifting up, I said something like, "Dad, I'll be down as soon as I get me clothes changed." So I had to leg it down. They were all driving, Yeah. And I went, "Dad, I'll be down in a few minutes." And then I went, "Oh shit, I've said it to him before."
Right.
And I went, "Oh fuck, I've dreamt this." And I went, "Oh, this is mad," Yeah, I still think about that one every now and again. But I think it was, I don't know, like, maybe growing up in that.
Sorry, I was
maybe growing up and stuff like that. Maybe growing up and I did used to think that dreams could be prophetic, but now I don't, because I don't really think there is a way for us to see the future, because as soon as you see it, you change it. Yeah, you get me?
Well, I absolutely believe that's the same as I have for divination. By the minute you've done the divination, if it is fortune telling, which I don't believe it is anyway, that you've already changed the future. Two things to reply to what you're saying is, one, the kind of notion of, it's your subconscious is working on something, or it's that it's picked up on something, or I think can be sometimes, while it's certainly true, absolutely true, and I'm not disagreeing with that, it's sometimes used to kind of dismiss things. That it's massively overextended in its use by a lot of people, particularly sciencey types. That's just your brain. It's that Rupert Sheldrake thing of where he says, the dogs that knew when their owners were coming home, and the kind of rebuttal to that was, they could probably tell in some place in the mind that what time of day it was, or that just there's things going on in the house where people are getting right down to it. It goes like, you show me the evidence of that. There's literally no evidence of that at all. That's what dogs are doing. And if it is, that's insane how clever or intuitive or whatever word we want to do, or it's like, when you think about your friend Jim, and then Jim rings and you go, I was just thinking about you, but you don't, you think about Jim all the time, and he doesn't ring, and you don't make the connection. You go, show me your evidence. Where's your evidence for that? There's no evidence for that. That's an assumption, but it's kind of cast as a thing. So I think that it's a kind of, like a somewhat a consciousness explanation panacea it's kind of, if you don't understand something, or you don't how you have intuited something, that you shouldn't have, that it's kind of, oh, you picked it up somehow. And it goes, well, number one, prove it. And two, if that is the case, that's also miraculous. That you have the ability to Sherlock Holmes your environment without you even knowing it, and then putting
there is. What do you call it? Because you started reading it. What's it called? Man in the Symbols. Is that it? The young one.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake, man! I thought that was all written by Young, and it's only the first 100 pages. Everything else then is his students. Did you know that?
Right.
No one tells you that when you're buying the book. But anyway, no, he has this thing where a lady came into him, and I think she was a bit delusional. She wasn't healthy anyway. And are we half an hour in already? That's mad.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, we talked about nothing. And
I thought we solved the world's problems myself.
So he's talking about, she came in like really disheveled. She didn't know why she was there. She didn't know why she was sick. She didn't know the time, the day, anything. And then so he hypnotized her, and she had like everything down to a T. She knew why she was there. She knew her name. She knew the date. She knew why she was there. She knew how she became sick. She even described the clock that was on the wall when she was getting checked into the clinic. Yeah. So it is all there.
I just want to say, I'm not saying that's not true. I'm saying it's often used as a way to dismiss that's something that it mightn't be.
Okay.
I'm not saying that isn't a thing. Of course, it's a thing.
Okay.
100% it's a thing. It's just that it's all too easy to just go. It's like placebo. It's just sure, that's just placebo. You dismiss it. You go, yeah, we don't even fucking know what placebo is. It's weird. It's miraculous. It's very strange. So let's dismiss it because it's the magical act of naming something banishes it. It binds it. Placebo. It's like kind of going. We can dismiss all of this because that's just your subconscious. Go, well, maybe we should look at it. That's more what I'm saying. Because maybe there's something more going on. It mightn't be, but I think it's all too easy to dismiss it in that kind of way of just going, maybe I was just picking up on these things. No, we don't know. Maybe it's as likely, or not as likely. It's as legitimate to say maybe I was just picking things up in the background as maybe we're all connected to a collective unconscious, and we have access to information that we normally wouldn't, or something. I don't know. That might be true, It seems at times it's true, but other times it just seems like a ludicrous
I like
idea.
the idea. I hope it ends up being true. I'd say, in 100 years' time, this stuff will all be solved. Wasn't there something discovered last week, a new part of physics or something that changes all the rules?
That's like science alert every week, though, isn't it?
I tried to read it. I tried to read it and just went, I can't. It's not going into my head. I wish I was smart enough to get all these things that they're talking about, but I'm going to need another go at it, I think.
The second point I wanted to make about the thing is that you were saying that, when I was a kid, that I thought you could have prophetic dreams, and now I don't. It's just always to be mindful of, be skeptical of your skepticism, because it's all too easy to fall into that. Oh well, the classic science trap of, years ago we thought the world was pink, and then we did some science, and then we discovered it's green. But now we know it's green, and there's no question it's green because we've done all the science now. And then in 100 years' time, they go, it's actually blue because we know more about the colour spectrum. And we go, yes, but we definitely know all the answers now. There's no question of that. So it's like, I don't know. Okay, it's that. That idea of not having any definitive beliefs, which Pete Carroll talks about in Liber Null, and a million other people talks about, where you just decide not to have. I don't have an opinion on that. haven't decided what that is, and not decide. Prophetic dreams. It's just there as a concept.
Okay, well, tell you what. Let me expand on it a bit more then. So I don't think that prophetic dreams are real. For me, anyway, because I think that if all we can experience is now, then telling the future based on the now is a bit pointless, because all we want to experience is the now as much as possible, and having these dreams are telling us about something that's in the now. You understand me?
If time is linear.
Well, time as we experience it has to be.
Yeah, but is your
us?
Is your unconscious in time? Is part of you not in time? Is the place from where these prophetic dreams come from outside of time? That's
okay.
The idea, and also the thing to remember about prophecy, in the sense of it's not classically wasn't about telling the future. It was about that when you got there, you would understand it.
It is now. It's even like I think one of the dictionaries a couple of years ago, they because so many idiots were saying literally in the wrong way. The footballers. He's literally on fire. No, he's not literally on fire. He's figuratively on fire. But there was some dictionary put it in literally meaning the same as figuratively.
I think it was the OED. I think it was
like
to put it in. I think it was the Oxford one itself. I think.
Yeah, it was some one of the big ones anyway. But they put in the informal thing beside it. You know,
which I think is fair because I mean, words change. You know, it's a language evolve. I'd say there's a million. There's probably not a million words in the English language. I'd say there's any number of words we've used in this podcast that 100, 200 years ago meant the complete opposite.
Man, not even 100. I'd say 5, 10 years. I mean, there's a good one that Aga has cousins over in Canada, and her auntie moved over there in the late 80s, early 90s, and so she moved over there with that Polish, okay, and she taught that Polish to her kids. So when her kids grew up to be teenagers, they were using this slang from the late early 90s.
Oh, right.
And so when these kids, they're not kids anymore, and the adults now, they speak to Aga, they're still using this weird 80s slang. And it's like, wow, that's very strange.
Yeah, but it's like duh, chill.
Cowabunga, dude.
Cowabunga, yeah.
Awesome. No one ever said cowabunga, though, did they? Not on our side of the water, anyway. No. In America, the surfers use it, don't they? They don't have a cow, man.
Yeah, you know? The Turtles and Bart Simpson are the only people I know who've ever said it. I don't think anyone said it.
I remember my outfit used to fucking give out to Stalin because we would say cool to each other because from watching the Turtles. Cool. What's this cool thing? The fuck? Cool.
It's not from cool. Like the 50s from jazz cool, isn't it? Like that's cool, like a cool.
I have no idea. But obviously it didn't reach County Wexford until the 1990s. I was in the forest yesterday for the first time. Oh,
yeah.
Well done. Ireland is reopened.
For a week or whatever until it falls apart again. Yeah, I thought there'd be more people, but there wasn't, and it was nice. But I'll tell you, because there's a number of walks in the forest I go to, and there's like intense walks, medium walks, killer walks, and things. But so I always kind of. One of the ones I like is the intense walk where it goes, probably not as fit as I was. I'll just go on the medium one. I wasn't even fit for that. I was fucked, man. It was like such an eye opener of going, well, when you stop doing this, because I walk every day. I walk for about an hour every day, but like hill walking or not on a footpath, it's a completely different thing. But I was like, there was a one point where I was going, do I stop now and catch a breath? Is that do I have to sit down in the stuff? Is that where I'm at now? Is this who I am? Is this me? And I was going, and I was just the whole like stubbornness going, I'm not standing. I know I'm going to keep going, even if I die. I'm not old. But it's like, it's crazy just how on your level of fitness just drops. Like, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, but it's been a while though since the Irish people have been allowed into forests.
Well, it was last year. Yeah, it's like I think it was the beginning of December the last time, or the middle of December. I was in
crazy. Have all of your relations and all been, or older relations, gotten their shots yet, or their first shot at least?
No one has them. But they reckon we'll get 20% of the country done by the end of the year. That's the kind of figures Ireland has.
By the end of the year?
Yeah. There's another year of this in Ireland for sure, definitely, like no question.
Jesus.
Well, going by the reports, I had to stop. I had to switch out of
I thought they were allowing pharmacies and stuff to give the injection now.
Oh, but they can give it, but we don't have any of them to give. Like,
that's mad.
Yeah. At least the last time I looked, these might be up to date facts and figures because it's. I was on Our Ireland on Reddit. And it's great, but it was getting so depressing. People were falling apart, and hard goes out. But I was just going, I can't. Sorry, lads, I can't be coming on and then trying to deal with my own problems, and then the suffering of others, because I'm such a highly sensitive person. But it just affects me.
Yeah, of course.
So I couldn't. So that was literally my only source of news, because I'm not going to RTE. You know what I mean? So I'd see someone send a link or the headline, so I don't even get the daily updates to anything anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm out of it. But the last I heard, it wasn't good. Like within the week and a half since I've looked at it, it may be a much more positive, optimistic outlook. But that was the kind of the last.
Shite.
But we were the longest in lockdown in the world, in full lockdown, whatever it was at that point. It was 10 months out of the 12 months. So, and it's like, I mean, I see it's so hard to talk about any of these things without sounding like you're being a conspiracy nut. In that to a large extent, the level 5 lockdowns don't work. You know, like telling people they can't leave 5 kilometres to their home doesn't make any more difference than they can't leave 20 kilometres. Other than the general mental health is much better for people because they can go to a beach or they can go to a forest or they can go you know. But to have it so long and such a tough lockdown, I think has fucked an awful lot of people. Certainly fucked me.
Yeah.
But I mean, and also the winter, and you know, Irish people, you know, not great with the vitamin D and the sun and all that stuff as well. So it's tough. But I mean, at the same time, not working in a coal mine, you know, you have it's all relative, all that kind of stuff. But that's not to negate your own kind of sense of where you're at too, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, long term we'll know, because I know like here really went to shit. And it's still bad here. The numbers are terrible. There's like one day there last week, I think there were 700 or 800 people died. Like, that's fucking crazy, you know?
Yeah.
And like, apparently, I think it's between 200,000 and 300,000 people in total have died. So like, that's a whole city here.
Yeah.
You know, that's Cork in Ireland. Cork is gone.
Yeah.
Just imagine, you know, you wake up one day, it's gone. Okay, a lot of Dubliners will be will dream of that one, but like, you know, it's a bizarre thing. I don't know. I mean, they've started the 60s to 65s here. I don't know what's going to happen yet, because apparently there's plenty of people haven't been showing up for shots because they're scared of this AstraZeneca thing. So they might just open it to the general public and whoever, and it'll be first come first serve thing, which would be great. But like, also yesterday, Aga came to me and she was saying she was reading this thing by she'd have read it or listened to it. Some allergy doctor was on something, either a podcast or an interview, a written interview, and he was saying that people with allergies, so say asthmatics, people with treated asthma with inhalers, basically, people who have allergies get coronavirus less often than normal people, and also their symptoms generally aren't as bad as normal people as well. And it seems to come down to just having an inhaler, and taking the inhaler kills the germs in your thing. Same as smoking. So either smoke or have asthma, and hopefully you'll be better, you know. So I don't know, but like, I mean, for me, that's a fucking, yesterday she told me, there's a huge weight off my shoulders, because like every time I go to the shop, I'm like, oh, high risk, like, this is fucked up, you know.
Yeah.
You just kind of like,
you've had it 7 or 8 times at this point as well, haven't you?
Well, definitely had it once. I know for sure I've had it once, and then when that time Aga had it really bad, like, we all must have also had it. But I must have still had antibodies from the first time. So, you know, I don't even know how many times we've been gone quarantined. It's ridiculous, you know. But look,
yeah,
I mean,
you just go in quarantine and then that you can't leave the house, isn't it? At all, sort of stuff. That's happened. Over there.
You can only walk your dog.
Yeah.
No, you can't even go to the shop and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, other than when
I
I actually had coronavirus, I was quarantined, but not now. Not if there's someone's, you know, say Vanessa, someone at school, and one of, you know, someone had it, not necessarily in school, but it was a close contact. We don't go into quarantine, but you would over there, I assume.
Yeah, we still would over here, yeah.
As he coughs.
I think the school stuff is mad, because like the teachers were vaccinated fairly early here because they wanted the schools back open, you know. But like, I was reading the same thing, the Irish Reddit thread, and like, what's really bizarre is that like there were teachers putting comments up saying, yeah, I don't want to be vaccinated yet. It's like, okay, how come you were smart enough to teach the nation's children?
Yeah, but what is the reason?
Dumb.
That they don't want to be vaccinated? That they don't trust the vaccination, or they think other people should have it first? Or what is? Yeah,
I think other people should have it first. Being a martyr.
Yeah, there's a post about that. Don't
take
do that.
Take your fucking vaccine, man.
Well, it's not even that, because they put so much extra work on the organisation, that word that won't come to, you know, on the process of doing it. Because if you go, well, we give it to Spud, and Spud goes, I don't want it. Because right now we have to fucking work out who gets it.
Yeah, you have to find someone before this goes out of date.
So it puts huge more.
That's nonsense.
But yeah, just go and get your vaccination if you're allowed to get it. Get it.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Yeah. I don't understand it. Plus, as well, like, you're going to be sitting in front of hormonal, sweaty, disgusting teenagers. Yeah. Do you know, take the fucking vaccine, you retard. You know, God almighty. Yeah. People out there, they do an to get it, and and then these Irish, it made me so angry to see, because I'm like, how come you're a teacher? Like, remember when we were young, teachers had this kind of a decent reputation of being smart people who were there to teach kids, and now, like, oh Christ almighty, I know 100 teachers because I was a teacher and I fell into this as well. No one does teaching as a vocation anymore. It's always a second, third, fourth option. Always, it's the backup plan, you know. And so, like, obviously, we have idiots teaching our kids now because none of them actually wanted to be a teacher. They wanted to be something else, and they gave up on their true will. Become a Thelemite. Are you becoming a Thelemite? You're sharing an awful lot of stuff. Yeah. You thinking about it?
No. I've always kind of had that kind of a level of interest in it. I'm not a joiner. I don't, because as soon as I join, everything just falls apart. It's like
I'm the same.
I like looking into the room from outside the window and go, oh, that's a pretty bookshelf. Because when you go in, it's not a pretty bookshelf.
Being a peeping Tom is more fun, isn't it?
Much more fun. But it also like, I'm a case magician, and for good or for bad, and that's how I define it. So I get to, if I become a Thelemite, then that's what you are. Whereas when I'm a case magician, I can do what I want. And I can, because today I feel like today I'm in terrible form, so I think it's all bullshit, all of it, and that's fine because you absolutely have an ability to be an atheistic, skeptical case magician, like Safarian is one. So, like for instance, he doesn't, he has a very different approach to it. But if you're in a kind of a telemetic situation, you would start having a kind of if you've had a day where I think it's all bullshit, you go, well, what do you do with that? You know what I mean? Like, you just kind of have to have faith, or is it belief? Something, I don't know. That's probably not the answer. There probably is a proper answer to that, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm not convinced enough by any of it to be dedicated to.
The only thing that puts me off Thelema is the having to do the classes and read the books and to do a yoga pose in front of someone over Zoom for an hour. That's just fucked up. Like,
yeah, well, I've never done that ever.
No, I've never ever doing that. But I wouldn't even do it in person. Could you imagine like initiating?
You cannot cross the abyss until you do downward dog nude on Zoom. Yeah, but turns out I never crossed the abyss. That's strange, isn't it?
Isn't it crazy? Like just. I don't know. I mean, no, I like I was saying to Marco, and I think it is a good path to do, but there's too much of a. I'm the same as you. I'm not into hierarchy, those kind of dogmatic kind of rules and stuff. And, for all like 10 miles to say, oh, there's no dogma. There's fucking loads of dogma. What are you gonna go?
Oh, yeah, there is, yeah. Yeah, the answer to the hierarchy thing is, well, this Alan Chapman said it. I'm not sure if it's his idea or where it comes from, but by engaging with the hierarchy, you put yourself in the hierarchy, and that's I assume that's the AA method, that, you establish yourself in the hierarchy, and until you do that, you can't go. You can't progress. That's the
But the way I would see that is that once you put yourself in the hierarchy, then you're saying that you're under people. Fuck that.
And over people.
Yeah, no, I'm not into that.
We're more agreeable to being over people than under people, but it's still it's equally as bad. It's equally as bad. It's equally as bad.
So if we were gay, we'd be tops.
I don't know. I don't know what that top to bottom thing is, and I'm not googling it. I'm not googling. I don't want to know.
Yeah, how do you decide? Like, I mean, are you a top in your last relationship, but then you go into a new one and you're like, oh, I might be a bottom this time? I don't know. Surely it's 50-50
I assume that's
always.
exactly. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Definitely
I need to ask my gay friends.
Yeah,
like surely it's 50-50.
Well, I don't know.
It has to be 50-50.
I have, I have preferences on things I like and don't like sexually. I'm sure everyone is the same.
Yeah. No, I just think no kings, no masters, no rulers kind of thing. It's just we're all the same. We're either all the same or else I'm not in your club. That's it. That's my thing.
While also being aware that there is definite benefits to being in a hierarchy in a student-teacher relationship or whatever as I do it. I just don't enjoy it, and I don't like it.
That's not what I mean. No, I mean that, like, okay, obviously you're the teacher, you know more than me.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you're any better than me in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's usually not how it's presented. Now, in some cases, definitely
that is totally not how it's presented. Yeah.
Particularly in magical circles. But you see, they're so strange because it's like, because there's a kind of a nature of development or evolution or ascendancy in magical thought, new age thought, spiritual thought, whatever. I can't decide on what word is best for that. And that leads to hierarchy, and that leads to kind of it. Just if you follow that thought the whole way down, and you get into like things like theosophy, where you have root races, different levels of human beings as races, and it's kind of like it's such a slippery slope. It's such a it's just the whole thing is a bit abhorrent. But that's not, don't throw babies with, bathwater, John Lennon, all this kind of stuff, all of these things. But it's just, I don't know. The only thing I know for sure is I don't enjoy it. I don't like the dynamic. I feel disempowered by it, and I feel rather than empowered by it, which is, in one sense, go with your gut, blah, blah, but in other sense, be aware of your own shadow stuff too, So I have.
Hey, look, I mean, I don't think we're bitching really here about Thelema. Like, this kind of stuff. I didn't. We kind of touched on it in the interview with me and Marco. I think he would agree with us on this stuff, that hierarchy doesn't work in this day and age. And this kind of student teacher thing of, I know you and you know me and I know the person under me and that's all we know. It's 21st century. That's exactly what I said in the podcast. 21st century. That day is gone. You know what I mean? I mean, nowadays you can just have a Thelema class on Zoom. And,
which Marco does.
Which is what he does.
And he's very good at them. Really good at them. Marco's I've started doing his basic magic foundation, part 1, whatever, and it builds up. By the end of the year, you're, I don't know, you're full Crowley, whatever it is. Although you're full not Crowley because he's not mad Crowley. But it's just a start and it's breeding, the whole thing. But it's just every time he talks about something that you think you know about, I find that I go, oh yeah, no, I understand it that bit better. So I mean, if it's something you're into, I think check out his Patreon, and you can do it in weekly things, whatever. He's loads of stuff on there. He's one of those people. He's like, what's beardy dude? Why you did like that row? No, that row didn't. The Angels dude, Damien Ackles. Well done, brain.
Oh, yeah.
He just pumps out so much stuff in Patreon. You go, at some stage I'll get to it, but it's like now it's this thing. I think I've gone weeks without looking at anything because I've like 30 videos or something to go through, and I'm just going, well, how do you start at that? The last time that happened, I just says, right, I'll just leave his Patreon because it's making me feel bad about myself. But Mark was saying, just every day there's like a couple of posts, and it's not spam posts, it's like proper stuff that you want to know about, and and just like, oh, right, someday I'll get there. I'll read it all.
Yeah, no, I really like him as well, and like, I'd be tempted to go down that road of Thelema, but I would, because I know who I am. I know I'd end up falling out with a teacher or something like that, because I'd just be like, no, enough. I can't. No, I just, like, yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine it like you were in like.
I'm not a good student, Tommy.
No, I'm the same.
And I know I'm not a good student.
It's like if you're in an ashram in India, the guru, and he says, doing this guru thing, he's go, it'd be like, fuck this. I just know, I can see it. I'd be up. Good luck to you, you bunch of knob ends. I'm out of here.
Fucking lick arses. What are you doing licking his hole all the time? Just give us the answer, man. Just fucking, well, I mean, if the swallow says to the swan, then they must... Shut up with your alligator. Tell me what I need.
Bye.
Just tell me. Just say, Spud, you need to go into the forest and you need to have sex with a tree. Okay, fine, I'll do it. All right, if it means I'm going to be awake. But it's the swan and the dog, when they talk to the bee, and hey, did you know that bees, I saw this yesterday, bees after they have their kind of summer, they don't hibernate, or sorry, winter. It's not a hibernation, but they don't come out because it's cold and there's no pollen. But they don't shit for like weeks and weeks.
And how did they do any of their reading?
Very uncomfortably, it would seem. And so like they just so just keep an eye out if you're walking, if there's particularly yellowy, gunky stuff on your grass. That's a bee has dumped a load.
Nice.
That's what it is. Yeah. So I hope we'll all be looking for that.
Nature's beautiful, isn't it? Nature's beautiful.
Half peeled orange challenge. This is the Spud bee poo challenge. Right?
Yeah, it's much better, but it's much darker, but it's or half peeled orange with bee poo on it. Now that's advanced level chaos magic there. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Assholes.
Let's do assholes. I was going to tell you about Persephone's, but I'll keep that
go on.
No. It's fine. Okay. Next week. Build it up. Yeah. Okay. Make people come back. Treat them mean, keep them keen. Arseholes. That's what we are. We're being arseholes.
Thanks very much. Bye. Documentary, 2019. I think I'm right. 2020. Very recent documentary. Based on a book by a surfer who noticed that there were arseholes who were surfers, which came as a huge shock to me. And so he wrote a book about it, and then someone made a documentary about it. Yeah, I was just okay at this. You liked it more than me, I think, did you?
I liked it more, but I was kind of looking at it going, and actually, it's funny. I didn't like it as much as I did either, but I was kind of watching it going, I remember when I was an asshole then. I was an asshole then. I was an asshole then. Yeah, I've done that. I've also done that. Yeah, I've done that too. I'm still doing that. I'll probably do that again. Fuck. I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole.
And comes Dennis Leary. You're an asshole.
And he pees on the seat. It's a great song. Yeah. No, I liked it, but I kind of
I think my issue with the documentary is it's an hour and 18 minutes, not that long, but it's like as if they're shocked. There's this level of shockness to the fact that there's arseholes. That it's kind of gone. Yeah, I thought that was like the most obvious presupposition to this documentary. I thought we were going to learn a bit more about why. It's like, and then I discovered one day that there's arseholes, and that there really are. And it's like, yeah. But
well, you have to remember, I mean, this is a Canadian documentary. Like, there's not many arseholes in Canada.
Yeah. The other thing as well is that the whole kind of emphasis on saying that it's majority of men are arseholes, and while that's true, it kind of completely has missed the whole Karen thing that's going on, you know, which I assume that's relatively recently, but I mean, that is the female arsehole, isn't it? Is the Karen.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
John Cleese in it, and I always have time for John Cleese. I like him a lot. And he's just talking about his mother, you know, and he's saying that she definitely was an arsehole. And that, you know, he's saying that if at any point you would have sat her down and goes, have you done anything wrong in your life? She would have said, oh no, I definitely haven't done anything wrong. So like, yeah, I've met people like you, all right. in fact, I'm often like that. But it's just like, I thought that was good. He is, but he's always very honest anyway about these type of things. But yeah, it just overall, like, then going into the business one, I thought was the most interesting, where they made this company decided to have a policy of not hiring assholes, you know, or arseholes. Whatever, and I thought that was interesting, but like it's like someone obviously had to sit down and define what an asshole is, you know. So like, I think what they kind of ended up going with it is more you can feel an asshole, you know. You just know, you know, there's kind of a radiance from them. There's an aura around them.
There's a radiance and you can feel them. I love it, Tommy. Yeah. It's great.
But it's like sort of it started with the person who's on reception gets an input into it. You know, like what was he like when he was in waiting, when he approached you, you know, what was the general, I suppose, even, you know, you see those loads of things, occasionally you see things on like Reddit and Twitter where they go, oh, this guy, you know, was an arsehole to me in the car park, little did he know that I was the guy doing his job interview, you know, all of this kind of stuff that you have to be, you can be a great guy within, it's a dynamic when you want something, but it's your general kind of demeanour and behaviour outside of that. But kind of other than that, it's just, you know, it touched a bit on the Me Too thing. You know, it felt very, I suppose, cursory or very kind of superficial or something. You know, it just, I didn't come away really knowing anything more. Although,
no, not
I
really.
don't know what I was expecting either. Like, so.
No, like it throws a lot of stuff at you. Like I was, you know, taking notes during it all, and like, by taking notes, I was missing stuff because it throws so much at you. But the same thing, you come away from it being like, yeah, like there's nothing new in it or anything like that. Like obviously there's arseholes in the world, and there always will be, and always have been. It seems that some countries have more of them than others, but like,
well, it's based on privilege is essentially their theory, that they think they are in a privileged situation, either by looks, class, money, whatever, and that they feel they're entitled. There's an entitlement. Yeah, entitled.
This is it.
Yeah.
And there's one, I think is a psychologist, in a very funny bit. He explains the differences between a prick, a dick, and an arsehole.
Oh, yeah, that was good. That was actually good. Yeah.
That was really good. I don't remember what it is.
And you could never. Your kid is never an arsehole. He's a little shit. You wouldn't call a kid an arsehole. I don't know.
You can't call him an arsehole because because they don't. They haven't.
Well, an arsehole doesn't know he's doing it. A dick knows it's wrong and does it anyway. That's the thing. What was the third one?
A prick.
A prick. That's, I don't know. For
don't
me,
remember.
a prick is definitely more a rudeness to it. There's whereas a dick is doing someone who's just been a dick. They know they're wrong, then they're doing it anyway. An arsehole's just an arsehole, but thinks he's right. And a prick's just a prick. Just an annoying.
Yeah.
There's an
Prick is just a
annoyance.
once-off kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's
You're being a prick, not as an overall person in a situation.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Team America has a great scene where they talk about the differences between dicks, pussies, and assholes. And it's absolutely amazing. So it is.
Yeah. We can't put a clip because that would definitely demonetize us.
Oh my god, you definitely can't put a clip of that up. It's fantastic though. It's hilarious. What else? The Me Too stuff. Me Too stuff. They were talking about Harvey Weinstein, and the psychologist was saying, they were talking to a psychologist about, and they were like, "Look, he's an asshole because it's like abusers. The only way that abusers change is because they actually see what damage they've done, and she said that the most crucial thing is that they want to change. And see, I suppose this is with the thing with arseholes. I don't want to say assholes because it sounds wrong. Assholes from an Irish accent. You say arseholes. That's the thing with these lads. Arseholes don't want to change because they think that they're allowed to behave like that because they have some sort of overness over everyone else. Then it goes into politics then and spends a lot of time on Berlusconi, former Prime Minister of Italy. And that's really good because he was the first of kind of modern populism, and you can see what he was doing in Italy has echoed here in Poland definitely has.
And
in Britain
America.
with Boris Johnson, America with Trump, Britain with first Farage and now Boris Johnson. And it's just these entitled gobshites.
Yeah, it's like a dangerous buffoon. Like that's this kind of caricature, but like, oh, hold on. They've got weight behind them because people agree with them. Like that, it seems obviously caricaturous to certain people and obviously amazing to other people. Like some people obviously think Farage is just a great politician, and but he's like, I don't know, he's a ridiculous character to me, say, but he's a dangerous ridiculous character. He like what he did to the UK, sure.
He's like, there was something I was watching. Rebel Wisdom have started going on after Brian Rose again, and they put up some. Oh,
I love that.
Pretty good, actually.
It's my favourite popcorn internet stuff. It's Brian Rose.
But there's a lot of similarities there as well. Like you can see that there's this narcissistic belief that someone is better than other people.
Did you see the interview with the old co-host of Unreal? He looks like a distraught man. Like he's well beaten from that. Like he had a big divorce last year as well. But like, this kind of just, you're useless to me now. Bye. Like that's real. Oh man.
It's almost like, it's kind of like reminded me of like if someone wrote a review of someone and then they didn't like the review and then they said the goddess. Just saying. Just saying, like,
Just as a example, not pointing at anything.
I mean, that's not my own thought. The goddess put that there, like that's that's not me thinking.
It's so like the asshole thing. I mean, there's a good point made in it, I suppose, where there was a kid and he's talking about, goes, well, I've learned because I tried to be nice and I tried to be a good guy and I got nowhere. So as soon as I became an asshole, I started getting everything I want. So I'm going to be an asshole. Can't dispute that. It's not going to work. It might work out for you long term, but when you're, there's definitely a horrible kind of way of looking at the world, but at the same time, you can't. If he is getting what he wants now, compared to it's an effective kind of strategy, I suppose. But I don't know. I prefer it wasn't like that.
Isn't there? There was a Russian lady in it. I think she was Russian. It sounded like a Russian accent. Yeah, that company that you mentioned earlier, they brought in this no arseholes rule, but it was based on some university. I don't remember. Did I write it down? Which one? No, some university had brought in this thing about the departments wouldn't hire any arseholes as well. And she was talking in particular about the financial world. And she said something like, "It's just,
Yeah.
it's all arseholes. Like it's
Yeah.
just did I write it down? I wish I had written it
Bankers,
down.
a particular. There seems to be a particular high percentage of arseholes in banking.
Oh, I didn't write it down, did I? Damn it. No, I didn't write it down. But anyway, she was saying that the whole, everything in the financial sector is just arseholes run by arseholes for arseholes kind of thing, you know? And so you can see that, like, if this kid is, you know, going to, I don't know, going into retail or going into finance or something, yeah, of course, yeah, you can be an arsehole and you'll get to the top, but you're a fucking psychopath and you'll have a shit life. You know, you will.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
karma will get you. It will get you, you know.
Yeah,
Well, maybe not like that, but
1% of humanity are psychopaths. So I mean, that's a lot of people.
There's an awful lot of people and there's 7 fucking billion of us, you know. But yeah, that's what the financial system is inherently an industry of arseholes. It's wonderful. Yeah, and then there was this fella they interviewed, and he was talking about spotting bubbles in the economy, and like financial people coming out, no, you can't spot them, they just happen. And he's like, no, obviously you can spot them. And so
I mean, if the
this-
latest GameStop incident is anything to go by, you can certainly see these things.
So he was brought in to kind of be a bit of a control on the douchebags who do run the banks and the financial capital that moves all around the world now. But he obviously didn't do a very good job because there's obviously crashing fucking all the time. But yeah, I don't know. I like it's but it's just to look at society in general. I mean, it is crap that we've let it happen that, you know, if you are a dick in certain areas, you will be a success. But like, I don't know. For me, I know I wouldn't be happy anyway. Like, I remember when I worked fucking Vodafone, I couldn't sleep at night because I'd feel guilty about selling phones to people.
Yeah, I'd like to be a bit more of an arsehole. I really would. And like, and I genuinely mean that. I'd like to have a little less care about other people's opinions, and I want to really make sure that I explain this properly. I don't mean I don't care about other people's opinions. I mean that if I say something that I believe and you disagree with me, that I would like to be able to just not care that you disagree with me, but I do care.
Yeah.
And that's sort of there could be a little more assholiness. It's probably not the right word, maybe, but that thing of like, you know, not sleep at night because, you know, you're selling someone a phone or whatever, or, you know, when you've talked before about the betting thing or whatever, and I'd have the exact same thing, you know, the kind of morals around it, and that's too strong a word too, but like the kind of ethos around it. I would prefer, and I think I'd be a more effective person if I didn't care about that. But maybe, you know, I'm just not that person, you know, and there's no point in trying to be, because there's nothing worse than someone trying to be an asshole. Because I certainly, one thing I learned in my life, was one of the worst things I ever learned, is because I grew up, you know, the Breakfast Club, John Bender, right, you know, and that's so, it took me so long to realise that you don't be shitty to women because they won't like you, because I thought, if you're an asshole to women, they like you, because that's what the films taught me. You know, and it's like, it was only in hindsight that I realised that, like recently, that I realised that's what I was at. Because I was kind of going, you know, rather than say, you see someone and you compliment them, you know, whatever, it's like, oh, yeah, look at you twit, or whatever. And thinking I was flirting with them, you know. And I'm not talking about like a teenager, I'm talking about like I'm in my 20s and stuff like that. Like just kind of, obviously sometimes it worked, or, you know, it wasn't.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of notion, I suppose, that it's the coolness of being an asshole. You know, the cool people are assholes. You know, that's how we portray them, in a sense, to in certain ways. Not always, but like particularly in kids. You know, in that teenagery, high school American TV show type thing. That's how it's kind of viewed, and that's certainly. Go back to you know, the young guy who's saying I'm going to be an asshole. I probably on some level I made that decision too, and it didn't work out for me. You know, so but that's what I'm saying. If it's working out for him, good for him. But hey, it's kind of the whole. There's that kind of area where it's like standing up for yourself, standing up for who you are, standing up for your beliefs, and then kind of, I suppose, then encroaching on other people's. I think that's where the asshole thing comes in.
Yeah.
But it's kind of there's a give and take in that, like. That was very rambly, but it's not even.
No, I get you. But there was one of the Italian. They interviewed a good few Italians in it because of the Berlusconi thing, But they interviewed a film director, and he was saying that, like, you know, when you're growing up in school, like, the assholes were the funniest kids, like, you know.
Yeah.
And it's true, but like you see that on a lot of our entertainment, the asshole is the funny one. Like, Jesus, look at the Simpsons. Like, Homer Simpson's a fucking arsehole. Bart Simpson's an arsehole. But they're funny. And like most stand-up comedians have this thing of arseholiness as well. But it's not like that. They're playing a character. Like, we can see through it, kind of thing. You know, like, I presume Louis C.K. isn't the same guy off stage as he is on. He's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Mark Maron might be. You know?
Yeah, but I mean, maybe Louis C.K. it might be a great example because then he's also kind of very similar character in the TV show as he is. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
Same as Mark Maron, but like, I hope they're not. They're probably way worse. They're probably, you know, way more narcissistic in real life. And you know, this is them on a good behaviour. You know.
Yeah.
Just that last season of Maron was terrible. I really didn't enjoy it at all. Where he goes into rehab.
I didn't watch any Maron. I gave up on his podcast. Jeez, an awful long time ago. But anyway, this thing about this kind of thing we have with Arsenal. But I think most people do like it because it's we can see that it's a satirism of how we see our own behaviour. Because, like, you know, we all sit there and even go, geez, I should have said this or that. I should have done this and that. You know, and it's I'd love to play the arsehole, you know, because just to get one over on someone. But you know what? Fuck it, you're grand. You don't have to play the arsehole to anyone. Who you really like. You were saying something about the comments thing, wasn't it, last week?
Yeah.
Like, if someone comes, where is this comment? And you could be like, well, what I wrote? No, just be like, okay, there it is. Like, I don't think the world isn't going to be a better place if you act like an arsehole.
No, it's not. And your life isn't either. You know. Yeah,
as if it's some fucking point scoring thing that you have going on that's totally imaginary that you set up. It's not real. You know what I mean? So try not to be, you know. But I know, like, when I was watching, I was just going, jeez, just cringing at the amount of times I've been an arsehole to people for, like, I was in a bad mood, I didn't sleep well, or someone annoyed me. You know what I mean? Like, I was such an angry barman. I was a fast fucking good barman, but like, and I had a fairly high level of stress I could take, but once that line was crossed, just explode. Right. You know, it was terrible if anyone got in the way, kind of thing, you know. And Zuckerberg's the whole arsehole.
Why is he? He's not even human, that fella.
He's not even human. It's weird. He had that thing. Yeah, they talk about this. The old Facebook motto was "Move fast, break things," and then some psychologists like, yeah, okay, if you move fast and break things, you're a toddler. I thought that was great.
I do understand the principle behind that is, you know, like, don't be in a creative sense, you know, just do the thing, you know, don't be worrying about, you know, how it's always been done, or, you know, I understand like that, but I mean, yeah, I understand where the fault lies in it too, but you know.
Yeah. Because there's something else on the Berlusconi thing that, like, he started off, he made his millions by running cable television in Italy, so he's more or less like the Rupert Murdoch of Italy, and he had these shows which they're still on telly. I've seen some of the football shows. They have these, like, it'll be older guys and ex-footballers talking, they'll have these fucking supermodels in almost no clothes doing the presenting, you know. But before, in the early 90s, it was even worse, and it was just like girls in underwear with old men, and it was just bizarre. But it was just this I think it's a theatre director comes on, and she says, like, this is the image that was presented to Italians about this is how you live your life. You know, you can be demeaning to women, you can, and they'll just love it, and they will love you for it, and all this kind of stuff. And then she kind of makes a really good point in that she says, look, Berlusconi was an arsehole and he got away with loads of stuff, but, like, we're also arseholes because, you know, we voted for him. We're a country of arseholes, she said. And she says something really funny. She's like, why didn't we stop him? Like, there's 60 million people. Is this like black magic? You know? I thought it was great, but like, she's right. And it's like, you know, when we complain now about the politicians that run the world and stuff, it's like, yeah, like, you guys voted for Trump. Fucking deal with it. It's the same with Boris Johnson. Like, you voted for. I saw something funny yesterday. What's the the leader of the Labour Party in England. What's his name? Khmer Rouge or something like that.
Khmer Rouge. It's not.
I don't know what the fuck his name is. Khmer Rouge. Right?
Yeah.
Well, it's Red, Labour, I don't know, communism, whatever. Right? So he made this statement because that what's his name? That the racist father of the paedophile who died there the other day. What's his name? Prince Philip. I've been waiting for an hour and 15 minutes for that. Right. And do you know what he says? So he gets up in front of Parliament and he says that, well, the Britons have never, or it was something, I'm paraphrasing now, the Britons have never turned away from the monarchy. The monarchy has always held a special place in the hearts and minds of all Britons. And this woman tweeted the words and she's like, there's literally a statue of Cromwell right outside Westminster. Do you know, you haven't always had. There's another good one I saw as well, Piers Morgan, who's just a horrible human, total arsehole. Yeah. And he has this whitewash article about Prince Philip saying that he was a great Briton who did so much for the country, yada, 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 yada. Yeah. But then like the next 5 or 6 pictures are all articles from him from years ago saying like the Queen must leave this man. She needs to get him in line. He's terrible. He makes Britain look bad. And it's like you fucking slithering arsehole. You know, to just because someone's dead, you say, oh my God, how great. Wasn't he brilliant? But when he was alive, you just
it's a very odd thing we have about like we have to make people perfect in death. I definitely don't agree with that, but it's something we do. No. Certainly. Many funerals have you been where arsehole people who suddenly are amazing.
He's a great man.
Yeah,
he's a great man, wasn't he? Yeah. He's a great man. Yeah. He wasn't shy about telling people what he thought, which is okay. So
he always shot from the hip, arsehole. Yeah. He just told it like it was, arsehole.
Arsehole, yeah. Yep. Quite a lot, Tommy.
Saying that at my funeral. Just get up and go, he was an arsehole, right? Bye.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, no one at mine. Might happen during COVID and no one have to come. Do you know? Hey, we've all had those thoughts, haven't we? We've all been like, God, if Grand Auntie X dies now, I won't have to go. Jeez, that'd be handy. Or am I the only one? Am I the only one who has those thoughts?
I haven't thought those things, but I just don't think of those things.
I'm an asshole.
I definitely 100% say you're not the only person who's thought that. It's more my thing is like if anyone got married now, I wouldn't have to go. Thank God. You know, that kind of stuff. Everyone get married in the next couple of months, please, so I don't have to go. It's they're also saying that they're going to extend the Prince Philip funeral for 30 people, more to 800 people or something, because, you know, one person's death obviously doesn't equate to another person's death. Imagine you had, you know, you didn't get to your granny's funeral and some racist monarch,
father of a paedophile,
is allowed to have. That's just that classism is just a caste system. It's essentially what it is. Bullshit.
Actually, look, the whole idea of monarchy is nonsense anyway, you know what I mean? Like,
I'd be all up for monarchy if the king was awesome, you know, and I'm really behind this guy. He's teaching me an awful lot how to be human. He really looks after all the people, you know, he's a great human being. That's never going to happen. Ever.
Good luck, man.
Yeah. But I mean, it would be, imagine having someone you could look up to who was like, you know, the Taoiseach, and you go, oh, he's a great man. Never met. I've never been. Like you could look in hindsight at Charles Howe and go, he always shot from the hip. He told things like it was.
I mean, there was that old kind of Celtic and Slavic way of Poland had this. Poland is the first country to have ever had a female king.
Right.
Because they didn't have the word queen. They would do this thing like what the Irish Celts used to do as well. Every 7 years they'd have a new high king.
Oh yeah, kill the old one. Yeah, great job.
They'd all I don't know if they did kill them though.
Well,
I've heard that in some places and not in other places.
Yeah.
There's also legends that like they had to fuck a horse. You ever heard that one?
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Jesus, that's bizarre. Like,
my lovely horse.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I've been around a lot of horses, and I don't know who's getting satisfaction with that. Like, I really don't. Like, you know,
the people look.
Yeah, no one. Yeah, it's just wrong, and it's like. who's the obviously the anyway? Yeah, I've spent far too long thinking about shit like that.
The king who was queen.
The king, yeah. So they used to do this thing where in Ireland the four provinces would come together and they'd decide between them who would be the highest king, and he would rule over them. And they did the same thing in Poland, but they would also change it every couple of years as well. So it was King Jadwiga was her name. So I mean, it only lasted for 4 or 5 years or something like that. And then after that, I think that's a good way of doing kingships rather than like. Fucking hell, man. Prince Charles is going to be King of England. This fella goes around talking to fucking rhubarb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I talk to rhubarb. I shouldn't be
Spike
king of
Milligan
anywhere,
impressions.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know. Because then did something come out recently where they were saying like, you know, the Queen's just a figurehead, blah 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 blah, and it's not really. She doesn't really have any power. And then it came out goes like, she's loads of power. She can veto loads of things and has done, but she doesn't have to tell anyone about it. Like it's just kind of, and you're like, all right, well, you know, I might want to look at that. You know, unelected official. With a, no, I don't know, but she was grand. Everyone loved the Netflix show. It was great. You know, she's lovely, isn't it? Like, oh, we all really understand her now. It's nice to watch it. It actually looked all right as drama goes, to be honest.
My ma asked me, "Did you watch The Crown?" I'm like, I wouldn't even put it on the fucking telly in my house. Are you mad?
Yeah.
Watch The Crown. Jesus Christ! I don't get the Irish obsession with the royal family. It just boggles my mind.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Why do you care? You know, they're nobodies. Yeah. You know, even though we spent the last 20 minutes talking about the dead father of a paedophile. You know.
Racist father of a paedophile.
Racist father of a paedophile. Dead racist father of a paedophile. There was the Raylan Gibbons story doesn't come up in it, but I wrote it down. You watched Justified, didn't you?
I watched
Raylan Gibbons.
But 2 seasons.
Yeah, so he was the lead character, and he had a story. He was arresting this fella. He was a what do you call it? Is it Texas Ranger? Is that what he was?
Yeah,
the bounty hunters. What are they called?
Whatever it is. Yeah.
What the fuck are they called? They cross state lines looking for people who have absconded from bail. I can't.
Bounty hunter. Bounty hunter. Parole.
Yeah, but it's official one. They're state. It's not like dog.
State trooper.
Fucking bounty hunter. A what?
A state trooper, a Frank Zappa,
whatever it is, right? So you arrest this guy, and he's like,
Lipsy.
you arrest this guy, and he's like, he tells the story about like, you know, you go into a shop in the morning and someone treats you like an asshole, they're an asshole. But if you go into another place and you get treated like an asshole, and if you go into a third place and you get treated like the asshole, well then sorry, buddy, you're the asshole. And it's fucking something you should keep in mind. Every day. It really is like keep that in your head, because you can spot yourself if you're acting bad. Like,
what's the common denominator in all of these situations?
Yeah, exactly. You know, and especially like, do you see the way people are treated? Just, I always try and be as nice as I can to the ladies working in the shops, in Lidl's and supermarkets and whatever, because like, I look at. Poland isn't a country where it's normal to, you know, strike up a conversation with strangers. Like, I know in Ireland you can do it. You can go down to your shop and, Jesus, fucking great weather we're having, isn't it, Mary?
Whatever it is,
and you can talk nonsense for a couple of minutes or whatever. It's grand. You don't do it out here, but I just try and say please, thank you, smile, whatever, because some people are just treat these people like fucking dog shit. You know, it's just, come on, man, she's just doing her job. Just
it's so weird.
Be sound. But then again, it's like the driving thing, you know. Maybe he's an asshole and he's cutting in front of me because he has to get to the hospital. Okay, maybe he has an excuse and we'll let him off. Try not to be judging people all the fucking time.
I know.
just try.
There is that kind of thing, I suppose, that try not to judge other people. It's like, you know, don't let people away with things. But like, what are you going to do in Lidl? You're going to go, hey, will you be nice to her? You're not going to do it.
Yeah,
you know
what are you going to do? Like?
You're not going to do it. And what would happen? Like, I don't know, get a box or something.
There's a really good moment in the doc where they speak to this Italian politician, and Vladimir something is her name. So obviously she's a trans person, lady. During Berlusconi's last term, he would finish his speeches in these Italian piazzas. Just, and do you want someone like Vladimir, whatever her name was, to be elected? And they'd all be screaming, no, Italy, Catholic, and then obviously she got elected, which is brilliant.
Yeah,
and then they do this they do this fucking hidden camera thing. There was this show in Italy where they would find the worst of the internet trolls, and so this presenter found this Vladimir lady's worst troll, sit him in the car, and he's like, oh, he goes to shake her hand, and then he realizes, oh fuck, it's her. But like, she ends up very well. Like, she says this thing about, like, you know, she realized that this guy is just sad. He has no life. He's nobody. He has no one to look up to. He has no one to look after him. He's just, it's like, oh, she had a lot of compassion for him, which I found really inspiring, I suppose.
Yeah. Considering
you know,
he'd have none for her. You know.
Do you know, like, could you imagine, like, how, like, I don't know if I'd react very good if I had a constant troll like that, or if I'd be able to forgive them. Maybe if you met them face to face,
I wouldn't be good. I wouldn't be good.
I don't know. Like, I don't until you're in that situation, you don't know what you're going to do. But she says this thing that, like, you know, if you're walking down the street and you see something bad happen, someone hits an animal or someone shouting at a woman or whatever, it's that, like, she says that, like, you know, if you don't do something about it, then, you know, you're also the asshole.
Yeah,
and by doing something, you're throwing a stone into a pool, and the ripples, they will go so far. You know, I thought that was a great way to.
Well, it's also the bystander factor, isn't it? That you know, people see thing, but they always see an incident or whatever, but they always think someone else rang the guards, and then it ends up that no one rings them. But it's also another thing is that you see it so often. Like, say a man's beating a woman or whatever, and, you know, someone goes up and tries to stop it, and then the woman starts beating up the guy who tries to stop it. You know, stay out of her, you know. But time and place for all these things. But I do think that if you see, by not kind of standing up to, not necessarily standing up, but not doing something, you're complicit in the assholiness.
Yeah. It's a fucking hard one. I think I remember years ago we had a bad alcoholic in one of the pubs I worked in, and we saw him beating the shit out of his wife across the road one night. Girlfriend, wife, I don't remember. And yeah, we called the cops on him. And but then also I know another night, the last pub I was working in, a chap was walking home, saw a fight between a man and a woman. He broke it up, and your man went off to his house, got a knife, and killed him.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like, he was just out he was just out with his friends at a birthday party, walking home, helped a woman, gets killed. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Do you know? Ugh.
That's
can't end on that, Tommy.
I don't. Yeah, tell me a joke.
You know, I don't know any jokes now. I'm too fucking.
Don't hear my favourite joke, but it's an awful joke. Okay. What do you call a small person in a bucket of cement?
What do you call a small person in a bucket of cement?
A wee hard man. Not the worst joke you've ever heard.
Goodbye, Tommy. Tommy, it's over.
And that's the last podcast of all. Thanks very much for listening to Tommy and Spud talk about for the last year and a half. It's been good fun. I'd like to thank various people. Peter Kingsley obviously gets a big mention.
Peter Kingsley, thanks, Peter.
Alan Chapman, Alistair Coley. Yeah, the goddess. Thanks very much. And so see you soon. Bye.
Bye.